So imagining is key to what I do and what I care about. My firm is called Development Reimagined. And the reason being that our current system does need reimagining. It isn't serving a number of people, a lot of people. We have over 400 million people in African countries who are under the poverty line. And that's a very low poverty line at $1.9 US a day. We have problems of climate change. We've got plans to, deal with climate change through climate finance, but the finance trickles through. Aid money is reducing from large economies. We have other large economies trying to support, but they also face those challenges too. And we effectively have really poor distribution across the world, poor distribution of finance, poor distribution of what should be the benefits of growth, what should be the benefits of capitalism, as it were. So there is no reason why we can't continue to, why capitalism should not necessarily continue. It's most likely to continue in some ways. But it does need adjustment in order to serve people's needs. Now, some people argue for degrowth, say that we need to completely get away from the idea of growth and economic growth. I'm not one of those people. I do think it really is about how we use frameworks to distribute growth and target it to the right places in order for people to benefit. And I think economics actually helps us to do that. There are such important concepts. Public goods, the concept of a public good, externalities. These are concepts which, if we really thought it, the concept of a public good helps you to think about the role of government. And the idea that, for example, you can leave a transport system just to the private sector to deal with, or you can't, or you might just not regulate it, or and for developing countries, there were certain models back in the 1980s to come out of a debt crisis, 1980s and 90s, called structural adjustment, and that was trying to get countries to privatize a lot of these activities, these government, what were previously government activities that government was spending money on. If we really thought about public goods and really understood that concept, we wouldn't have gone that way. And in fact, those sorts of programs which did encourage that privatization, they led to a lot more poverty. There's evidence that they led to a lot more poverty than they would have done, because they didn't use these core concepts. Now, I don't think capitalism means that we can't have these concepts, but we should be really bringing to the fore some of the concepts that we often forget, or that have just kind of been downplayed over the last few years in economics, and use those to think about a reimagined society, which does distribute better and does provide for the poorest in society, within countries and across the world. I think it's possible.